It's served everywhere. Takeaways, restaurants, stadiums. It's fair to say we're a pie-eating nation. Today I'm going to show you how to make a classic steak pie, from homemade shortcrust pastry to the beef-licious pie. But that's not all. We're going beyond the crust to explore a brief history of this iconic supper and its influence on literature. Many of us are used to buying shortcrust pastry from the shops, but the truth is it's super easy to make at home. All you need is 250 grams of plain flour, 180 grams of unsalted butter, 1 egg yolk, 100 ml of water, and a pinch of salt. We'll begin by placing our plain flour into a sieve. Add a pinch of salt, then gently sift. Once that's done, add your cubes of butter into the bowl and using the tip of your fingers, press the butter and flour until they're nicely combined. We're looking for a breadcrumb or sandy texture here. Add water with the yolk, whisk, then pour into the bowl of flour. Mix together, adding the liquid little by little. Avoid lumps of butter by being slightly vigorous with the mix. We want to make a ball with our dough. Spread some flour on a clean surface, flatten the dough, then using a cling film, wrap the dough and refrigerate for 2 hours. It's important to rest the dough for 20 minutes when out of the fridge. Now we're going to make our delicious steak pie. To begin, slice your onions, carrots, and steak. The best pies are filled with the most chunks of steak, so we're not going to recommend how much steak you should put in your pie. It's completely up to you. You want your stove at medium to high heat, but to save energy costs, we're not going to turn our oven just yet. Add your olive oil into the pot. When it's warm, add in your steak. Our steak will cook in 3 easy steps, and you know it's ready once it's juicy and brown. Then add your onions and carrots. At this stage, we'll put our kettle on, then add a cube of beef or vegetable stock in the hot water. Stir, then add the liquid into the pot. Depending on your taste buds, you can add wine or ale to enhance the flavor of your pie, but we're going to keep ours nice and simple by only using water. Cover and cook for 2 hours at the lowest heat. Pies are so often served that it's hard to imagine Scotland without them, but these delicious treats didn't start here. Historians trace the invention back to the ancient Egyptians, who filled the interior with honey and used oats, wheat and rye for the outer casing. This became one of the earliest forms of galettes, the beginnings of pie, and was carried on by the Greeks, then the Romans, and eventually spread across Europe and the rest of the world. Pies are such a classic that they even feature in Shakespeare, most famously in Titus Andronicus, where the main character feeds his enemy a pie stuffed with human flesh. We don't recommend that, but thanks, Shakespeare. Check the steak, adding extra liquid if the previous has absorbed. As the steak simmers, we mix our flour and butter, using slightly more butter than flour to increase the texture of our pie. Add the thickening into the pot and allow to melt. Turn off the heat and set aside to chill the meat. Once your dough is out of the fridge and rested, we're ready to start rolling. Sprinkle flour onto a clean surface, set the dough, and with your rolling pin, begin to push evenly. We're rolling our dough to about ½ centimeter, but the choice of thickness is yours to decide. Gently roll your pastry over your pie dish. Adjust accordingly, then tuck the dough. If a section breaks, cover with the excess dough. Place a large cling film over the dish. To blind bake, we're using rice instead of beans. Spread evenly, then fold the cling film. Cook in the oven for 10 minutes at 180 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. When it's out, remove the rice and cook for a further 5 minutes. When complete, set aside to allow the pastry to cool, but leave the oven on and set to a low temperature. It's time for the fun part. Add the steak into the pastry, filling every corner with sheer meat. Roll the second dough and cover the dish. Using an egg yolk, egg the cover thoroughly. Then make a slight hole on the top of the pie which will allow the steam to flow out. Our pie is ready for the oven. Cook for 40 minutes, 180 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. If you're enjoying our video, please like, share and subscribe, making sure to click the bell button so you can keep up to date with our latest videos. Our pie is ready, brimming with juicy, tender meat and begging to be devoured. It goes perfectly with a side of fresh vegetables which you can get with our Thriver box. We hope you enjoyed this recipe, have fun cooking and see you on the next one.